Let's talk about what happened at the Tennessee State Capitol, because the way this story's being spun tells you everything you need to know. If you've been paying attention the last few years, you already know the rule. When the left does it, it's a mostly peaceful protest. When the right does it, it's an insurrection. So let's apply the same standard to everybody, just for fun. Protesters overwhelmed police, took over the lobby and the gallery, and tried to obstruct official legislative proceedings. Lawmakers were harassed during a vote. Things got so chaotic that police forcibly removed Representative Justin Pearson. If you're thinking that sounds a lot like obstructing government business, you're not crazy. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, isn't that the exact behavior we were told is a threat to democracy, you're also not crazy. This is the part where the media wants you to forget what words mean. Now let's talk about the star of the show, Representative Justin Pearson. Because what you're watching isn't just politics, it's performance. 10 years ago, Pearson sounded like a normal young professional. Standard tone, standard look. He talked about working the radical middle, even partnering across party lines. Today he's playing a stylized civil rights leader character. The voice changes. The look changes. The posture changes. The whole thing is designed to scream 1960, even though it's 2026. And I know that sounds harsh. But let's be honest. There's a whole wing of modern politics that survives by pretending it's still 1960. Because if it's not 1960, then the script falls apart. If it's not 1960, then you can't walk into every room, point at the nearest Republican, and yell racist like it's a magic spell. If it's not 1960, then you can't keep telling people they're trapped in a system that won't let them succeed, while they're watching people succeed. If it's not 1960, then you might actually have to run on policy. And that's where the manufactured outrage comes in. Outrage is the fuel. Outrage is how you keep a voting bloc emotionally locked in. Outrage is how you keep people from asking uncomfortable questions like, why are we still talking like the country is legally segregated? Why are we still acting like the system is designed to stop Black Americans from achieving anything? Why do we keep getting told the struggle is never ending, even after a Black man was elected President of the United States twice? Now, I'm going to be careful here. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. People can be ugly. People can be unfair. I'm saying the question is whether the system is built to enforce it. Because if the country can elect a Black president twice, then either America isn't the racist cartoon we've been sold, or whatever racism exists isn't powerful enough to stop a Black person from reaching the highest office in the nation. That's not a vibe. That's logic, and if that logic is true, then a whole political business model collapses, because the modern democratic strategy depends on keeping a victim identity alive. Not because it helps people grow, because it helps politicians win. It's the political version of telling someone, you can't make it without me. Stay scared. Stay angry, stay dependent, and keep voting. Now let's talk about the part that's almost funny if it wasn't so destructive. A Tennessee state senator displayed a Trump flag, and the crowd responded by chanting racist and shame. Of course they did, because that's the reflex. Not debate, not evidence, not persuasion. Just label, and once you label, you don't have to think. You don't have to explain. You don't have to defend your policies. You just have to keep the performance going. And that's what this is, a performance. A cosplay of the civil rights movement. A manufactured moral emergency designed to keep people emotionally trapped in a story that guarantees one-party power. And once the old story loses power, the coalition has to expand. So the victim identity gets linked to every other underclass category they can assemble. LGBTQIA, undocumented, aka illegal, immigrants, and anybody else they convince that they're oppressed. Intersectionality, not as compassion, as strategy. Because if you can convince enough groups that they're all victims of the same villain, then you can keep them marching in the same direction. And who's the villain? The system, the Constitution, the idea of natural rights, the idea that you're responsible for your own life. The idea that America is the land of opportunity, not guaranteed outcomes. That's why they can't let the 1960 story die. Because if the story dies, the power dies with it.